This video is intended to show you how to insert a title block into paperspace, create these paperspace viewports that you see here, and set this up so that you are ready to put your dimensions on the parts that you're detailing. In this exercise, we'll put the dimensions in model space with the model, which is my preference. Depending on where you work at, the dimensions may be in model space or they may be in paperspace. Whatever you do, do not mix with some dimensions in paperspace and some in model space. That drives everybody nuts. So we close this drawing down and we go over here to the drawing that we have, and here are the parts drawn in model space. I go down and I pick the Layout 1 tab, and it comes up, and the first thing I do is I insert a D-size border so that I know the area that I can drag and create my paperspace viewports in. I set it at 0 and no scaling, no rotation, just dump it in there, and that one was already there, no big deal. The zoom extends, and now we see everything. Now what we want to do is we want to go to our viewports layer and make it current, and with that we start creating our viewports. And MV is make viewports. That's the start of the command, and all you have to type, press enter. Now we're going to drag in this upper left corner from here, pick, and drag down to somewhere in this area for the part that we want. And now we see everything in model space, so we double click to get into the model space. And now we're going down to the lower right to where the scales are at, and we're going to pick 1.5 inches = a foot, which is not correct, just so you can see that this is a trial and error thing technically. With scientific guess, and then work your way around. Now we go to the next scale, which is 1 = a foot, and that looks good because we have room around the whole part to put the dimensions that we need. So we've done that. So now let's double click to get to paperspace. I'm going to make this, drag this over just a little bit. As you can see, it's easy to do. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create the next viewport so we can detail the smaller part in here. So simply, once again, MV, we pick here and we drag over here. We got a decent size window. Double click to go in here and zoom in a little bit on this part. Get it near the center. Go down to the right to the scales. And for this, we're going to pick 3 inches = a foot, and that looks like a pretty good scale. So we'll pan up here a little bit so we have room around it again. And now we can pick the model paperspace button, and we're in model paperspace again, rather. Type MV to create one more viewport. Here's our next viewport we're creating. Again, we see everything. We kind of zoom in here, and then we go over here to scale once again to bottom right, and we pick 6 inches = a foot. That looks probably pretty good. Let's pan down and see out center. Yes, that looks pretty good. Alright, so now we lock that viewport. We go back to this viewport we forgot to lock, and we lock it, and go to our first viewport, and we also lock it. It is critical that you lock these viewports once you have them scaled, because if you don't, you'll change the scale of the viewport when you zoom in and out, and then your dimensions are wrong. So we have this now scaled, and we've chosen our dim style. And now we're going to pick the layer dims and make it current, and we're going to start to put a few dimensions in here. So if we pick linear, we get the corner of here and the corner up here, and we drag out here. There's our first dimension. Enter to repeat the command. So there we're back to dimension. Pick to here, up to here. Do it one more time, and we pick here, we pick here. And now we go up here and we can line up with the arrowheads so that those are perfectly in alignment. It just looks nice. Come down to the bottom, and we can pick here. And we can pick out here to get the overall for this, and bring it down here with a little room so that we click here and go here and here. We have room for this dimension. And one more click, and we pick here, and we pick here. Come down and line up the arrowheads, and then everything's in perfect alignment. It looks like a really nice drawing that somebody created that cares about how their work looks. We go to the next viewport, which is at 3 inches = a foot scale, and we just start doing dimensions again. We can pick here here, over to here, return, repeat the command, endpoint here. We've got that done. And now once more we're down to this viewport. It's a different scale, 6 inches equals a foot. Pick here, drag up for that dimension, click enter, pick here, and drag out here, and now we have our dimensions. Now remember, when you pick the end of the line you're dimensioning to, so you always have this dim gap here. If you don't have this gap, that's not correct. That's why we did these picks in this fashion here, and what you have to do. Okay, so that basically covers how to put a title block in, set up your viewports, etc., and to place basic dimensions on. Adding the detail underneath of these will be in another video that will be done later.